What's up, guys? It's me, Jay Flatout, back again with another video. And this week what we're going to be talking about is the process of building YouTube's ultimate big booty tow rig. Now, this, as you guys probably can tell by now, this is one of my kind of half personal, half work trucks where this does tow. You can see from the fifth wheel hitch that we actually use this for work. Now, we were very fortunate to get some assistance with making this thing even better at towing, which includes this enormous Banks intercooler and some other great goodies. But you know, we kind of did install videos on each of the items, but I actually want to go over the whole kit as a whole, talk about what I got, how it all ties in together, and how it's going to improve the towing capability, fuel mileage, things of that nature. So to go over some of this technical stuff, we're going to start here in the garage real quick, where I'm going to give you some of the more in-depth specifications that we didn't go over during the install. So I'm going to start with my personal favorite piece and the piece of the kit that I think makes the biggest difference, which is the Banks intercooler. Now, the stock core is 4.27 inches. The Banks is 5.94 inches. And you guys saw in that install video the girthiness, the difference of it. Now, it is a little tricky to install. Those boost pipes are very tight because what they've done is they've taken a very small pipe, opened it up to a much bigger pipe, and those tolerances are much stricter, but it does fit and it does improve the airflow dramatically. Now, the great thing about the intercooler is the inlet and outlet opening pipes, as you guys saw in that last video, is 7.5 square inches, where the stock and the AFE comparison are both 4.5 and 4.7. So you're getting a 68% increase over not only the stock, but Banks' direct competitor. So that's huge. The airflow CFM of the stock intercooler is 294, where the Banks boasts an enormous 436. And the cleaner, more dense air you can get into that engine, the better it's going to run, the better mileage you're going to get, the cooler it's going to run, and we know that temperature kills all things. So if you can keep those temperatures down, you're going to have a great improvement in not only durability, longevity, performance. Again, you're going to be saving money because we're not spending so much now on fuel. And to guys who tow a lot and to guys who tow heavy, that is huge. That is a bottom line saving, because every dollar we spend in diesel is a dollar straight off the bottom line. Next, we're going to talk about the 5-inch DPF back exhaust system. Now, this is the one that I was the most skeptical about, to be honest, just because the muffler stays intact, the DPF stays intact. Obviously, because we have those carb compliance stickers, they're not going to be removing anything that's going to make this truck illegal in any states. These are all 50 state legal modifications. Now, but in my head, I'm thinking, we're not removing the muffler, we're not removing the DPF. So what can it really do? Well, I'm going to tell you what Banks says it does, because I personally haven't been able to test this, but what they say is it vertically eliminates back pressure after the DPF. You're going from a 4-inch pipe to a 5-inch pipe. It has less back pressure than the stock pipe after the DPF, which I believe is true. Its chrome-plated stainless tip will not brown. That is true. You guys saw my stock exhaust after only 9 or 10 months on that truck. That stock exhaust was disgusting. It looked like a rusty piece of scaffolding that's been sitting out in the rain for years. So just almost the tip alone is worth it. But you know, obviously the performance upgrades that we do get is going to help. I think out of the whole system, the exhaust is the least beneficial, but when it comes as an entire kit, you're getting every ounce of power that we can squeeze out of the truck is a huge benefit. Again, I'm going to be really excited to see the fuel economy, because I spent a lot of money in diesel, and anything that can help that, I think, is going to be worth it. Component number 3 is going to be the Banks Ram Air cold air intake. Now, this one, obviously, you saw us install in the driveway. It's very tight tolerance as well, but I am very happy with it. Now, the immediate notifications that I got on changing this was You know, the engine was a little bit more throaty. You get a louder exhaust brake, more present exhaust brake. You can hear that turbo whistle if that's something that's important to you. But let's talk about the actual improvements other than just what we can hear. So what they're boasting is a 66% flow over stock. What that does is you obviously remove your factory air box. Well, Banks gives you their own patented air box which keeps out hot power robbing engine air, and it inhales the cold air using the Ram active air system, so that stays intact. So basically behind the grill, Ram has like a flap, and it detects when it's wet, and it'll close that flap when it's wet and open it when it's very hot to let more air in from behind the grill. It's got an absolutely enormous oiled air filter behind there, which maximizes high airflow filtration and helps the engine run a lot cooler. It is on this very interesting kind of pivoting system, which allows and it compensates for the engine movement. It prevents component damage, and it actually requires less changes. So my old panel filters that came obviously in the Ram airbox is a 10,000 mile filter. If you're feeling froggy, 6,000 to 7,000 miles, if you really want to keep that air clean and not let those particulates go through, well, the Banks cone filter is a 50,000 mile switch. The last part of the kit that we put was the Banks I-1.8 Super Gauge. Now, this replaced the Insight Edge monitor, and it gives you a lot of the same information. The only thing that I miss from the Edge monitor is the fact that it does tell you what gear you're in and if the torque converter is locked or unlocked. I don't know if that's an option. I wasn't able to find that on the iDash, but I haven't done extensive research. I haven't called Banks yet to ask them. But that is one feature that I would like to see maybe on an update. But again, I do like how it takes a lot smaller footprint on the dashboard. Obviously, my iDash was like a cell phone size, and this gauge fits very nicely into the column. And if we have, obviously they provided us a column mount, and it just looks a lot more flush. There's not a wire. It hides the wire for you, and I really like it. I think it fits a lot better, and obviously it ties the whole system together. I'm going to be doing some more research and obviously seeing what temperatures we want to be monitoring to make sure that when we're towing heavy up a grade that we're not going to be burning anything up. And I also would like to see, because I know what my normal temperatures are towing, so now that we've increased the airflow and we've been able to cool that engine down, I'd like to see kind of where we're at with the temperatures now when we do the next towing test in a future video. So all in all, guys, this system we put on was $4,000. Now that includes the diff cover that we may be installing today if everything goes well. So what we're going to be looking at in this first video and future videos where we really put this system to the test is, do you get a return on that investment? And then what kind of return can we expect to see? And is it really worth it? I think it's going to be, personally, because if you're going to keep a truck for a long time, or if you do use your truck to hotshot or make money or tow or whatever it is, I think these are all great things that are going to increase the longevity. Anything that increases the longevity of your vehicle, especially if you're working it every day and you rely on it, I think is a good thing. But that's what I'm here for. We're going to do some tests. Before we head out into the truck, I just want to remind you that all the links to every part that we have on this build and all builds are in the video description below. By using those links, you are helping support the people that support us, and I greatly appreciate that for you guys. If you could, if you do decide to purchase any part of this kit or the whole thing, if you do use those links in the description, it does help support the Flat Out family, who helps support the videos and give us the parts and us to review them for your enjoyment and knowledge. also going to do in this video is I'm going to try to get this installed. This is the Banks rear diff cover, and my truck is pretty far overdue for a rear diff service, so perfect time to pack up the diff cover. Now, if you do have a rear sway bar, you're going to need to get these sway bar extensions. I don't have a rear sway bar, so we don't need that. I went and bought synthetic 70 weight 40 from Valvoline with the limited slip, since we are towing, and this little catch can. We're gonna do it ourselves. So we got everything back installed. The only thing I did deviate from the Banks instructions was I did reuse this factory brake line harness. Banks wants you to remove this and put like a clip around here. I don't want to do that. I just want to leave that exactly how it is, but everything else is installed. We have the oil going into the fill reservoir right now. We're going to do 4 quarts. I did the Valvoline synthetic limited slip 70 weight 90 for this one, 4 quarts. So it's nice because we have a sight glass here. The nice thing about the Banks is we do have a drain plug down here. So for future oil changes, we can just pop that off and pop that back on. We don't have to remove the diff cover at all like you do for the factory diff cover. We also have these air intake scoops. So as air comes through here while you're driving, it actually forces it up to the pumpkin and helps keep all that fluid cool inside. Guys, we are finally done with that install. I'm actually glad I did it myself here at the house. It ended up only costing $60 for the replacement oil and the catch can to catch the old oil. So other shops wanted like $200 to do it, so I'm glad it's super simple. Just do it at the house and it comes out great. I mean, performance aside, just look at how that looks, because this is completely visible as you're rolling down the street, and it's going to be so intimidating for people that have inferior products to see this enormous, I think they call this a oblong or whatever. This is a patented exhaust tip from Banks. They're gonna have the rumble of this that you guys heard in the driving clips earlier. They're gonna have the wide stance of the fuel wheels paired with the Nitto tires. And just as you're coming by, just that enormous tip, and then that Banks rear diff cover in the background. So as we're driving, obviously I don't have a trailer loaded, but one of the things I do notice is you can actually hear the air flowing through that big cold air intake, which is actually pretty remarkable. I don't know if you're gonna be able to pick it up on the camera or not, but you could definitely hear the air being sucked in through that enormous oiled cone filter. So the cold air intake matched with the intercooler, you're gonna be able to hear that audible turbo whistle, and it sounds great. Spooling, like I said, like me and Shane both said in the first drive after the install, the turbo really hits that max boost pounds very, very quickly now, a lot quicker than even a deleted truck. And the thing I do like about the exhaust is it's not droning. Now, if you're putting a lot of miles on these dualies, you guys who work them or you guys who travel with RVs, that drone is gonna be very annoying after a while. And the fact that you don't get a drone with this truck, but that you do obviously get the presence of the bigger tip along with the performance upgrades of the reduced back pressure is a great compromise, I think. So guys, remember, we are gonna have a bunch more videos. It's not the end. This isn't gonna be one of those builds where I just build it and trade it in. We're gonna be doing tow testing. This is a work truck. It is a truck that the primary purpose is to make money. We have more suspension stuff coming because this thing doesn't ride great. And if you caught a glimpse underneath there, this is still on factory shocks after 70,000 miles almost. So CJC Off-Road is sending out some stuff. We have a little sneak peek here of more front end parts that are gonna be going on. So do make sure that if you are into the dually build or the Raptor build, that you do subscribe, like the videos, because it does help us grow. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you next video.